through your freedom.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is our afternoon show live, Monday through Friday. Well, Thanksgiving, I don't think we're going to be here. I'll be stuffing my face with turkey. But typically, Monday through Friday, right here, 4:30 Eastern Time. If you're on the preparedmind.club, subscribestar.com, and I believe X, since we have control of X again and containing control of X again. But this isn't a joke. I want to thank John M. for sending this to me this morning. There's now a teddy bear, an AI teddy bear that's available. And it turns out it also has some additional things to talk to your children about, like weapons consultant or a sex consultant. It's like, what is going on? And it was actually in, Malware or Malwarebytes newsletter. So it's not it's not an Onion. It's not a Babylon Bee. But interestingly, I recall Robin Williams used to make a joke about the Teddy Ruxpin doll because it spoke. It had a little voice box and a recorder. And, Robin Williams' joke was at night, the bear would wake up your kids and tell your kids to go, you must kill mommy and daddy. Well, here we are. We now have an AI bear that is probably hooked to the internet that listens and wants to get into your kid's head. Good golly. I hope everyone enjoyed last night's show because I delved into who I think America's number one enemy is and number two. And we have a lot of enemies, folks, a lot. Our country has, through its affiliations, its military-industrial contractors, its allies, and people that are holding the government in blackmailed hostage. Our country's made a lot of enemies. And we have just a lot of fight inside this country. So, naming our enemies, I think, is good. And we need to fix America. And we have a lot of anti-Americanism here. In fact, I want to share this story with you. And of course, down below in the comments section is where you do your part. You get to talk about what's important to you, your topics. And by the way, Uman, our moderator-in-chief, is back in the moderator's chair today doing his job and kicking some ass. And he'll be keeping an eye on everyone. He'll collect your comments and get them ready for the on screen. I'll make you famous. But remember, everything you want to talk about, it's important. And it gets on the screen and it goes out and it helps people understand the world we're in. And we live in not just someone, it's not like they just want a little piece of Islam or a little piece of Israel or a little piece of communism or a little piece of China. They want to destroy absolutely everything. Everything about everything and anything to do with America. And it is so bad now that I would say their anti-Americanism has just gone stupid. A communist university known as the University of Minnesota, on its website, it is talking about and warning about a pandemic, folks. Now, I caught that headline. I thought, oh, geez, is it another COVID virus? Is it hantavirus? What is it? No. The pandemic isn't a virus. It is a whiteness pandemic. That's right. A government university, because they're all government, they all get money from governments, wants to warn everyone about a pandemic of whiteness. Unfortunately, in my opinion, whiteness is dying, and it's not a pandemic because we're being overrun by dumbness and Islamness and foreign nationness and anti-Americanness. So always, always, always the bad guys project, right? If they're saying there's a whiteness pandemic, then the opposite applies. There's an anti-whiteness pandemic. And I don't think anyone can make an argument against that if you read and listen to what is being said. And white people, That's right. All of you awful white people, you need re-education. You need to constantly self-reflect and then take action to reduce your racist attitude, behavior, and decisions. What I want to know is, when will this be considered racist? Universities attacking any race. I'm not talking about a nation like Mexico or Ukraine, China, or Israel. That's not race. Those aren't, those are nations. When are they going to be sued for racist, discriminatory, damaging remarks? They're a public fucking institution. I want to know, when are they going to be open for lawsuits? Because that's what I see this is. I see it as racial discriminatory practices coming from public institutions. In fact, it's very similar in a problem to a judge who's out there. And yeah, she's a person of color. And she was speaking publicly and was recorded. And what she said was, whenever there's a white case, she judges it a certain way. Whenever there's a black case, she judges it completely different. In other words, there's two standards. And I think we're seeing a lot of that when you have a criminal who's let out not 49 times as previously reported, but over 70 times, a major serious criminal. There's a problem with our criminal justice system. It's not even a recidivism problem, which means people get in trouble, they go to trial, they go to prison, and then when they get out of prison, they reoffend and come back. That's called recidivism, right? We don't have that problem because they never go to prison, because they're let out. They have house arrest. They serve 30 days in a city or county jail, and they're just let loose. They're looking at locking up Shiloh Hendricks, the white mother who is having her property stolen, pilfered by a young immigrant from another country, who then was portrayed as an autistic kid. In fact, now that bullshit about all these Somalians up in Minnesota having autism, it's a fucking game they play to get more money for more medicine that they don't fucking need. It's a scam. Everything is a fucking scam. Well, she's going to go to jail for, I think, up to 170 days. But someone beat the ever-loving snot out of someone, and they, because of their skin color and because of these judges, they're out in like 90 days. She said the N-word with a hard R because she was being harassed by a black Somali migrant illegal who was taunting her and threatening her. But how dare you say anything against these poor migrants who are over here robbing, raping, committing fraud, fucking stealing, raping, murdering. It's fucking out of control. And I think the problem is our criminal justice system has absolutely failed us. It's absolutely failed us. Then you have idiots like that fucking idiot in Chicago, Mayor BJ, and his dumb bullshit saying, sending people to jail won't solve our crime issues. That's racism. Yeah. We need lawsuits for these colleges. We need lawsuits for any business that discriminates against any white people. And any of these judges, I think the more I hear about it, the president of El Salvador has it right, and will continue to be doing the correct thing. You know how they fixed their crime problem down in El Salvador, which is one of those formerly shithole Central American countries like El Salvador, Nicaragua, Honduras, right? These places that you wouldn't want to get anywhere near in the past. Well, what he did is he said, we threw all of our judges out. They impeached all their judges, removed them from the bench. And now criminals get caught, get tried, and they go to jail forever. I wonder if they have the death penalty down there. I wonder. Not sure, and I wonder. Colleges need lawsuits, and these judges, the judges that are letting criminal after criminal after criminal out. They get out and they go stab people with a knife. They get out and they go set people on fire. They get out of jail and they go attack the people that they had just attacked and got thrown in jail for a couple of days. They get released for time served. While waiting for fucking trial, right? These judges should be held accountable. The same way, if a bartender overpours someone and they get drunk and then they go drive and crash their car, if it can be demonstrated they were overpoured by the bartender becomes a responsible party to any damaged people, any injured people, any harmed property. Why are judges immune from this if their decision is to let criminals right back out on the street? I think that they should be held accountable. If a policeman violates someone's rights, they can be held accountable. I think that everyone should be held accountable, just like me. If I roll through a stop sign, if I speed, 8 miles over the speed limit, I get pulled over and I get read the riot act. I get shit on. I get talked down to, demands and threats of punishment and retribution for being a bad citizen. And I put lives in danger when I rolled through that stop sign. Right. Meanwhile, Mr. Donut's got a fucking donut jammed in his mouth, a fucking cell phone up to his head while he's driving, trying to sip a cup of coffee. Right. These government officials, law enforcement, judicial branch, whatever, fucking bureaucrats, elected officials, they're all lying, hypocritical pieces of shit. I remember when they passed the anti-discrimination laws. I remember that as a kid, hearing about it constantly. You can't refuse to let someone rent your house based on their race or their religion, their age, and then they added or sexual orientation, right? They added all that shit. Well, what are we getting? Race-based maltreatment from public institutions, including our judiciary. You know who can fix this? Not Trump. He's already demonstrated he and his Department of Justice have no will of their own. They're not going to do a fucking thing. I've lost complete faith in this administration. Remember Drain the Swamp? Remember Make America Great Again? Fucking crickets. Crickets. As judge after judge after judge after judge stops anything that remotely resembles fixing this fucking country. And Trump can put an end to it. And so can Congress. That's right. Maggot Mike Johnson and Maggot John Toon of the Senate, the two leaders of the two houses, have done absolutely nothing to bring these judges in line. They could, folks, defund them. They could tell the Supreme Court, if you want federal courts, you get rid of these fucking problem cases or we will. The government is an embarrassment, yet they love to look at each other and tell each other what a great fucking job they're doing. Now, there was a rumor, and that's all it was, that Kash Patel was going to be removed. Oh, well, the White House, they released a press statement saying, the entire administration is the best in the United States history. A bunch of fucking smoke-filled coffee house, Persian Bazaar bullshit. Right? Fucking lie. And then addressed Kash Patel is doing all he can to straighten up the FBI. Are you fucking kidding me? The guy is so busy trying to stuff his nose in his girlfriend's panties, he can't fucking see straight. Oh, wait a minute. His eyes do that naturally. All right. I got a smile out of Uman on that one. Folks, it is time to wake up. It is. If we don't wake up, this country is going to be in worse shape than Europe. and quickly. Now, I'm going to give you an example coming out of Italy. Italy is shaken and Islam is empowered. Evil, scumbag, migrant thugs crashed into a car. Yeah. Or wait a minute. Let me rephrase that. They smashed their way into the car. I said crash. I was thinking of Cash Patel there. Smash into the car, right? And then they beat the shit out of the guy. And then they force him to watch as these thugs, these scumbags, these fucking Muslims, I know they're Muslims, gang rape his 18-year-old fiance. And this is in Rome. What is Rare and Care going to do? Right? These Islam bullshit organizations pushing what a bunch of great people they are all over America. Are they going to condemn it? Not a fucking chance. This is coming to America, folks. First, they came for our bacon. Then they come for your daughters, and they're going to rape them. That is a guarantee. It's already happening. Has everyone heard about the radical, illegal scumbags or the asylum seekers here in America? Cut the hands off of a woman with a fucking machete. Chopped them right off. I guess she did something they didn't like, so they gave her the old Sharia law punishment. I'm just going to cut your fucking hands off. Right? I said the Muslim invasion is the number one threat to America. It's interesting when you find out who really wants them in our country and why they're being brought here. It was Joe Biden. It was the Democrats. It was all the voters who put the Democrats in office. But who put the fucking idea in Joe Biden's head and the Democrat Party in Washington, D.C.? Who really said, you need to bring all these fucking people in your country? I remember hearing that our population was too high, that we're damaging the planet, that we need to stop having so many kids. And then with the flick of a fucking switch, they tell us there's not enough people to fill all the jobs. That's a lie. It's so expensive to have kids. Americans can't afford them. But in, I think it's Dearborn, Michigan, where that pile of shit Muslim mayor is, they are subsidizing Muslims to have lots of kids. Tax money is being paid to them. They're being given benefits. They're paying. The whole thing is a sham. Right? They're going to outlaw bacon. They're going to outlaw dogs. They're going to outlaw everything they can. I don't think it's going to get that far, though. I really don't. I don't think. I can't imagine it. Americans are really waking up. Good. It's about fucking time. Because I've been awake a long, long time. Because I witnessed a lot of this shit firsthand as a very young man. The lawlessness, the corruption, the fucking lying. Witnessed it all and understood it for what it is. All right, I tell you what, you know these foreigners, they're fucked up. I think I need to trim my nose hairs; they're itching. Zoran Mandami, you know that fucking clown. He has doubled down, or is this tripled down, on calling Trump a fascist, calling Trump a threat to democracy. And what I want to know is, why do I have to be the person to ask this very important question? The question is, why the fuck is a foreign communist Muslim who called for global intifada, which is murder of anyone who's not a Muslim, who lied on his entry documentation, why is he allowed to be in the country? Why is he not being immediately denaturalized and deported? And why is he being permitted to run for office and then threaten our constitutional rights with his policies that he wants? More tax for white people. I mean, all I do is drive 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, and I'm getting the third degree and threats from a college dropout named Barney Fife Jr., who happens to have a Glock 40 cal strapped to his fucking hip. Why? I mean, you look at England right now, where white police take Christians, take the British off the street and arrest them if something they did offended some fucking camel jockey, goat fucking piece of shit. If they get threatened by these fuckwads and they stand up for themselves, they get arrested for assault. It's happened over there, and it's starting to happen here. The whole arrested for bacon incident down in Florida. You know who's doing that? You know exactly who the fuck is doing that, right? I'll tell you who. Democrats. Democrats, Democrat prosecutors, and Democrat judges. They're going to throw the book at those guys to make an example out of them, to scare the rest of us into accepting all this crap. Here's another one for you. Our number one enemy, our number one threat is the Muslim invasion. In Portland, that's right, Portland, Oregon, a crazed left-wing knucklehead was threatening to kill federal agents, sexually assault the wives of them, and then go after and hurt their children. By the way, this crazed Portland leftist, which you know makes them Antifa and BLM and any other terrorist organization you could put to it, converted to Islam. What a surprise. That makes it easier to kill federal agents. And then, hey, you're going to go rape their wives too, because, you know, that's what Muhammad said. That's what Muhammad said all at once. Sadly, folks, this isn't satire. It's not even a bad joke. Communists, terrorists, arsonists, murderers. These are all different names for the Antifa members who walk our streets and will unleash hell on anyone once they feel like it, once they're given their orders, once Allah tells them to. I think that the best advice for all of us is to be prepared for them at all times. But I think it's key, absolutely key for you and I, all of us, to wake up as many people as possible. I am no longer going to tell people when they say, well, I'm going to get mad and I'm going to do this or that. I have always said, look, dude, violence, right? Let's stay away from that. Violence, well, you know what? Violence, I think, solves problems. The problem is America is apathetic. They're just sitting around waiting for someone else to fix their fucking problems. The way to solve that is for them to be violently and egregiously assaulted by these fucking Antifa or foreigners, Palestinians. That'll wake people up. When they start getting shit beaten, when they're being arrested, they're taking whatever, right? That'll wake you up. I guess America needs this wake-up call. For you and I don't know. What are you thinking? How close are you to the fucking edge? Some people are like this. Some people are like this. Some people are up to here and they can barely keep their mouth. I'm expecting it more and more often now. Politics is just fucking lost. Fuck it. Forget it. Absolutely forget it. And even in the state of Florida, I'm getting fucking pissed off over this bacon incident on a fucking college campus. Hearing about judges in this state who are leftists playing fucking games with the justice system. Thank God for Polk County and Sheriff Grady Judd. Not a judge. Well, unless you pull a gun on him or one of his deputies, and you will be instantly judged, and your criminal behavior will be permanently deterred. We'll talk more about that, I guess, as time progresses. Folks, Portland Antifa converts to Islam, says he's going to kill federal agents, rape their wives, and fucking harm their children. That's who these people are. That, you know, it's not just that they're talking tough. That's who they are. That's what they want. And all they need is the justification. In fact, an Antifa scumbag was interviewed on the street. And he said, they don't kill people because they're fascists. The anti-fascist, Antifa, they don't kill people because they're fascist. They call them fascist to give them the excuse to kill them. It's just that simple. Nobody gets killed because they're fascists, because there's not any fascists on the street. But if they label them that, work themselves into a tizzy, and then, yeah, there it is. Every day, folks, when I'm in a more populated area, I'm not out in the country. But even in the country, if someone gets anywhere close to me, I'm like, dude, we're in the country. There's a lot of room out here. Why are you fucking getting anywhere near me? That's my thought. Always on guard. I guess I should recommend that. Always be on guard. And this just in. Holy cow, the FBI is launching a probe into the seditious Democrats who urge the military to defy Trump's orders. Man, last time I heard about the official government probe, it was kind of like the alien probe where they probe your ass. What the fuck is a probe? How about an investigation? Well, this just in. The FBI will do nothing, even if their investigation finds compelling evidence of sedition. They'll do nothing. This is just more bullshit to try and make us feel good. You have elected federal representatives telling the military to defy orders. And it doesn't matter if it's Trump or Biden or anyone else. Now, they did not say, do not follow unconstitutional orders, right? It was just defy Trump. Everything is about defying Trump. And Trump is not doing all that much to make America great again, since he seems to be in Israel's pocket. Since he seems to have a collar on that says Israel's bitch. There is a lot of talk, though, that he's going to replace Susie Wiles, his chief of staff, who just the other day he said is the most powerful woman on the planet. And with a phone call, she can topple any government, topple any nation. How fucking about that, huh? I wish I could pick up my phone and do that. Hey, I need you to do something about North Korea. Keep it on the QT, eh? No, you can't, but she can. FBI launches probe. Well, after what, a fucking week? After we already know, after the information is there, it's patently obvious because it was a public statement by these six who are known as the seditious six. It's a public statement. We all know. Well, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth is spoken up about it on social media, on Twitter X. And basically he taunted this asshole, the bald NASA astronaut, who's also a captain. He calls himself Captain Mark Kelly. Turns out the ribbons and medals on his uniform that he displayed in a picture are incorrectly done. So Pete Hegseth says, the first thing we're going to do is, talk to you about uniform. And I'm like, okay, why the fucking insults? Just fucking arrest him. And if Pete is going to play this game where he wants to talk tough and then nothing happens, I'm going to lose faith in him. He's probably the last piece, the last vestige of any fucking hope for this country. And if he's been brought in just to play this fucking mouth game and talk a bunch of shit but do nothing, forget it. I have no respect for any of these fucking people. Pete, you're on fucking notice, brother. You've got the Judge Advocate General. If this guy is a captain in the military, in the Navy, and he is calling for seditious behavior, criminal sedition, they should call him up, call him to active duty, strip him of his fucking rank, hold him in prison, prepare a courts-martial, try him, let the verdict be the verdict, and if he's guilty, right, he's done. They already should fucking remove his fucking pension, whatever the fuck. I don't know if it's going to fucking happen. In any event, folks, let's do this. Let's go to the second half of the show. I think it's time for the Inner Circle. I want to hear your thoughts out there. Thank you, Mr. Ooh-Man. Okay, let's have some fun. Who wants to step up first? And Ooh-Man's, he's going to talk about Mayor BJ. Mayor BJ declared that, quote, you can't jail your way out of crime, end quote. What he's saying is jail doesn't stop crime. Well, the way I think about it, if you're in jail, you're not out on the street robbing, raping, and murdering. That's fucking easy math. But I think he's talking about long term. Well, guess what? Ooh-Man agrees with Mayor BJ. Oliver has now officially decided to agree with a communist mayor in Chicago. But wait, there's more. It's not just agreeing with him. He's agreeing with the concept of you can't jail your way out. Ooh-Man says you need to use capital punishment. And you can capital punishment your way out of crime. Capital punishment is the death penalty. Ooh-Man says there's no reforming murderers, rapists, and pedophiles. There should be no early release, no probe. That's good one. Nice callback. No probation for them. No parole. Nothing. Their lives are over. Save the taxpayers the dollars. And that's what I love about Florida. These dumbass criminals want to push their luck and threaten cops, pull a knife, pull a gun, try and run them over with a car, and they get taken care of. I am not saying sheriffs and sheriff's deputies in Florida are committing murder. I'm saying they're defending their own lives. But yeah, it's quite incredible, don't you think? Quite incredible what is going on in this country. Mayor BJ, you can't jail your way out of time. He called it racist to put criminals in jail. How fucking stupid is that? I mean, I'm trying to think. How the fuck do you go from being an American to being a communist, racist piece of shit like Mayor BJ? How do you get from a good place to that? And the only thing I can think is they're really retarded. They're that fucking stupid. They have no sense of history. They know shit about economics. They're politically fucking retarded. They're psychologically basket cases. They're fucking idiots. And they're out there. So I want to remind everyone yet again, if you live in a Democrat-run city or county, odds are 5 or 6 out of the 10 people you meet, 50 to 60% are Democrats, and they're voting for people who think like Ma'am Danny or BJ or Newsom or Prickster or any of these fucking Karen Bass or fucking Obama. They think like that. Even if you live in a conservative area, 4 and at best 3 people around you, 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10, in the most conservative areas are still Democrat and still think that same way. They still think that way. They think it's a great idea to elect mayor who's 42 years old, gets monthly stipend payments from their parents to live, and she runs for mayor of Seattle, not knowing a fucking thing, can't even take care of herself, but she's going to run a city like Seattle. I can't tell you, We used to make this joke about the founding fathers. Oh, Thomas Jefferson would roll over in his grave. Oh, George Washington would roll over in his grave. No, they would vomit in their graves at what's going on. It is so utterly out of control. I am actually surprised. I'm starting to feel surprised when I look about and I see that there's not house fires on every block and cars on fire on every block. In fact, you know what I'm going to refer to? You're going to love this, man. I'm going to refer you to Back to the Future 2. When Marty goes back to get the sports almanac so he can bet, right? And he fucks up and it falls into the hands of Biff Tannen. Right? Biff gets the book. And then Biff starts betting and making millions. And so Marty's going through his town, the town of Hill Valley. He's going through the town of Hill Valley, and the whole place is a fucking zoo. The police aren't policing. Everyone has bars on their windows. Cars are on blocks in the street. Gangs are run amok, except in that it's biker gangs. Fuck. Compared to these fucking scum, bikers are the most law-abiding people you're ever going to meet. I would rather have this country run by the Italian mafia than the government we have in place. Because the rules for them have to be consistent. They have to be easily understood. And as far as Uman is concerned, to follow that line of thinking, the mafia has a very strict penalty for fucking up. It starts with a warning and then a mild beating, depending, of course, on the severity of the crime. And if you continue to fuck up, they can break your kneecaps. They can put your hand in a vise and just smash it into fucking dust. And if you get out of line and continue, well, they'll either just fucking bury you or they'll threaten your family. And anyone that goes through all of that and doesn't straighten up, right? I think it's a pretty good penal system. It's punitive, but imagine all of the taxpayer money that it would save to have the Italian mafia in charge of everything. All you have to do is pay your protection money. Hell, we pay that already to the government. It's called local, county, state, and federal fucking taxes on your income, on your property, on your car, on your gas, on the items you buy, on the money you make, on your investments. They tax the fuck out of you and call it protection. No, they don't call it protection money. They say it's your civic duty to allow them to extort us under threat from fucking guns so that they can live like fucking kings and continue to turn scumbags loose. But yeah, Back to the Future 2. Marty McFly's like, what the hell is going on? This place is a wreck. Well, yeah, it's because they allowed lawlessness. Biff Tannen. We have a constitution so that people were guaranteed their First Amendment. So they were guaranteed the right to defend themselves and the state. They are guaranteed to be secure in their private papers, their property. And if a warrant is to be issued, the police are to have a sworn affidavit signed in front of a fucking judge, right? Stating the persons and place to be searched and the things that are to be confiscated. They just do whatever the fuck they want now. They don't need a fucking warrant. They just go exigent circumstances. I thought I heard someone call for help inside that house. So they kick the fucking door in and look for what they want. It's unfucking conscionable what is happening to this country. And the Democrats are all for it. And you know what's even worse? And I got on my fucking hobby horse, my soapbox here pretty good, is the Democrats, as bad as they are, the Republicans are allowing them. The Republicans are a bunch of spineless fucking pussies. They're not doing a thing to stop them. They're just sitting back and letting the Democrats continue to make headlines, irritate the fuck out of us, encourage the fuck out of their scumbags as everything goes to shit. Now, are they doing this just to get back at Trump? Is that what Toon and Maggot Mike Johnson doing? This is why I've told you guys time and again, the only way to make sure we're protected is to let the government know we have a Second Amendment and there is a reason for it. The biggest reason of all is to protect us against our own government. So I'm going to read this, and I would like you guys to, again, consider sending this line from the Declaration of Independence to your congressman, your senator, your governor. And here we go, folks. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. So the us and the we is we the people. And the them is government and tyrants who are allowing murderers, rapists, and pedophiles to run loose. In fact, the government is now openly saying the pedophiles they need to protect are government assets and therefore a national security item. Well, I tell you what, motherfucker, how about if you just go arrest them all and secretly solve the problem? It's not happening. But then again, if they secretly remove the problem people from government, how would we know? They could come back the next day and go, okay, we just killed 850 pedophiles that were on Epstein's list. Everyone can relax and go to sleep again. 90%, 95% of America would. They would believe that shit as much as they believe that we went to the moon. Fucking landed a rocket on there. You know what's funny? Is NASA is holding press conferences and talking about sending, for the first time ever, men to the moon. People will believe whatever they're told as long as it's a recognized authority figure like, Anthony Fauci. And there's another teaser out there, man, I don't know if you're aware of it. There's a teaser out there that Trump is going to replace Pam Bondi with a different attorney general. Now, Pam Bimbo Bondi, Bondo knows, Pam Fox Bondi, that stupid bitch has done nothing. I think they have 3 cases they're prosecuting, and they've already fucked 2 of them up. They've done nothing to drain the swamp, to catch the traitors, to stop the crime. Nothing. And so you know who they want to talk about putting in there? Is it Sidney Powell? Does everyone remember Sidney Powell? Female attorney. She looks like she could be a rough bitch in court. Apparently she's very intelligent. She's argued in front of the Supreme Court, argued cases there. Now, when Trump was saying that there was election fraud in 2020 in the election, Sidney Powell was jumping up and down and appearing with him on TV, and then he disavowed her. She's not my attorney. She's just an attorney standing up here next to me. She wasn't really his attorney, but she was one of the people that fat ass Fannie Willis, fat Fannie, big fat ass Fannie Willis. She doesn't like it when anyone calls her that, by the way. Too bad, fat ass. She was one of the people that she was going to prosecute for some fucking violation. I don't know what the hell free speech, right? Well, that's seditious to say there was fraud. Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, you can't question an election. Sidney Powell bent. She did a fucking plea. Now, was that smart legally? I don't know. I don't know what the fucking threat was. But you could say it was a legal plea, right? Save her a bunch of money and time and bullshit. At the same time, it's over a fucking political question. So what she did is she just shit on all of us by saying, yeah, it was wrong to do what I did. I shouldn't have done it. I'm fucking guilty. There needs to come a point here, folks, where we all make a stand. This is not a recommendation to do anything unlawful. But there's going to come a time when we all need to make a stand, and we'll know when the time is. You'll feel it. You'll see it on TV. You'll hear about it on the radio. You'll hear about it from friends. You'll see it when you drive down the street. There's going to come a time when we all need to become active. I don't know when exactly or even where, but odds are it'll be some place like Chicago or LA, maybe DC or New York City, maybe someplace south, someplace seemingly conservative. I don't know. Unbelievable. I'll tell you what, Mr. Uman, let's continue the show. Who else has something to say out there? And we got Diving Frog. And he says, John, I already said, and I remember what you said, man. He says, I already said our country will look like Beirut. Snipers, improvised explosive devices, outright attacks on our homes and children. They seem to like hurting children. Well, let me tell you about the children. I remember when Janet Reno, Attorney General for Bill Clinton as president, said that the government needed to protect the children and save the children at Waco, Texas. And then the government murdered the children. You know what that taught me, not as a child, but as a young man? Government's okay with killing people. Don't fuck with the government. That's what it taught me. Now, these people, these Middle Eastern religious types, you know why they, in Italy, raped the woman and made the man watch? It's to dominate both of them. It's to dominate. Rape is not just about getting your rocks off because you feel the biological need. It's about domination and control. And psychologically, it actually comes from people who have low self-esteem, low belief system in themselves. So they have to dominate and hurt others to feel good. But enough of the psychology. Let's get back into these people and their desire. It's the same with children. It's the same reason all of these LGB pedophiles, all these tranny pedophiles, LGB pedophiles, teachers in class want to talk about their sexuality to children. It's to dominate their minds, to expose them to evil, and to make them accept it as something they have to live with. So, hurting kids, that will teach any child that is not a Muslim to fear and believe that they can be hurt by these people. Now, if you think our country will look like Beirut with presumably anti-American snipers and explosives and outright attacks on our homes and children, I'm going to say this again because I believe it to be true. America is America. And a UN report just came out and said half the world's guns are owned by Americans. It's not just that I or you or any of us have guns. It's just that we have a lot of guns and a lot of ammunition. We own half the weapons on the planet. All we have to do is get mad enough and see that as the only option to solve our problem. And these people that would do sniper attacks, explosive attacks, arson, they have a home to go to. But if they pull that shit anywhere, it is my estimation. It's my estimation that they won't make it home if they try any of these things. Being a sniper isn't what most people think it is anyways. Explosives. Yeah. Just, arson, blowing things up, setting things on fire, attacking people. There were a lot more instances of Americans defending themselves with guns in 2020 than the media will ever show you. You want to know why? because most people that use a gun to defend themselves and others, they basically understand the 3 S's, which is shoot, shovel, and shut the fuck up. You don't need to tell everybody. You don't need to brag about it. You don't need to put it on TV or social media, right? You just solve problems. I talked to a guy who was a policeman in Hawaii. There's a policeman in Hawaii that I talked to, or a policeman from Hawaii. And I said, how do you guys keep your crime rate so low there? I know you've got a lot of homeless people that somehow can afford a plane ticket, and they've got the identification to get on a plane ticket and get to Hawaii and then be a fucking bum and annoy people and beg people and rob people. So anyways, I'm talking to the policeman. And he basically said that the sharks are really hungry, and a lot of people have accidents and fall off the cliffs into the water. I don't know if he was joking, pulling my leg, or telling me the truth. I just don't know. I just don't know. I didn't have a lie detector on me. You know, would a Hawaiian police officer need to impress me in a conversation? I don't know. In any event, let's do this. Yeah, they like to hurt kids. I'd like to think that the moment they start that shit, you and others will step right up and say, been waiting for the day. Time to fix problems. All right, Mr. Uman, what else have we got out there? We've got Mikey G, who says Cascadia subduction zone will take out Washington and Oregon, but not soon enough. What he's talking about is the out in the Pacific Ocean, just off the coast of Oregon and Washington, is a place where the plates, the crustal plates of the world are riding. One is going under and one is going over. And as a consequence, we have volcanic action there and earthquakes. A nice big earthquake and a slip in the subduction zone and a tidal wave will take out all of our political problems in Portland and SeaTac. Yeah, not soon enough. You know, it would be great. It would be terrible. It would be horrible. It would be horrifying. But it would solve all of our problems very quickly if we just drew a line down the middle of the street, and every street in America was required to do this, and you pick a side, and then we all just start killing each other. That would solve the problems, because on every street, in every town, in every state, in all of America, one side would lose. Let's solve some problems. We're going to have a major population reduction. I don't know why. The rich people haven't asked for that. And by rich people, I mean people like Bill Gates, who are eugenists and, absolutely horrifying bad people. You know, they want to lower the population, so they want to use pandemics, vaccines, drugs. They want to block out the sun. They want to poison the food, poison the air, poison the water. Remember when we had this thing about we need to clean our water and air? And then we see that you got plane loads dumping hundreds of tons of toxic fucking chemicals in the air. All right, Mr. Uman, let's have some more fun. Thank you, Mr. Mikey. And we'll move on to Robin. And she says, John, how much support is DeSantis getting on his no property tax proposition? I'd like to see that happen in my state. Tax me in another way, but leave my home out of it. Well, I'll address the last part first. Tax me in another way. My opinion, Robin, is I'm done being taxed. Stop taxing me and leave our homes, our property out of it. We've already paid taxes. And that's what DeSantis has said. Governor DeSantis, I think, is going to make a hard run at the presidency for 2028. Sadly, I believe he fired Susie Wiles. Fired her. So I don't think the people that support and give money to Susie Wiles and tell Susie Wiles what to do. Oh yeah, she's controlled also. I don't think that they were going to let DeSantis in there. We'll find out if he can pull it off. But yeah, his you're asking about how much support is it? Let's see. Every homeowner and property owner and business owner I've ever talked to in the state of Florida loves DeSantis and loves his no property tax concepts. Except I saw some of the details on one of these proposals, and it was reduce property taxes by $1,000 or $1,200 or whatever the number was. What is that? How does that help someone who's paying $10,000 a year in taxes? That's not no property tax. That is a tax cut on your property tax. Oh, goody, goody. I'm not going to pay $10,000. I'm only going to pay $9,000. Thanks for the fucking help, government. I've got a problem with a lot of this bullshit. Kind of like yesterday, Trump is out there bragging about we just made the Muslim Brotherhood a designated terrorist group. Turns out that's a fucking lie. It did no such thing. I'm tired of being gaslit, tired of being fucking played. And I think more and more people are realizing there's no way out of this. You can't earn your way out because your earnings are capped and you're fucked with. And then anytime we have more money, or should I say a higher standard of living with more disposable income, what do? They raise taxes. They fuck the economy up so that you can't escape. But if you get enough money together to buy a little piece of property in the middle of nowhere and try and live there, well, the city and county is going to be right up your ass going, you can't live here. You don't have permits. You haven't asked permission. You haven't paid your fees. If you try doing anything like raising chickens, they'll show up and say, you can't grow food on your own farm. You need special licenses. This is happening everywhere. And I know the Amish have been fighting this, and they've been fighting it well. And I hope they continue to fight back. Oh, a big threat in America is raw milk, don't you know? Fuck you people. Right up in Canada, we're going to come in and kill all these fucking ostriches. Because, bird flu. Some shit like that. Well, these ostriches were actually being used to create natural antibodies for immune system defense. Can't have that. Drug companies can't have that, but, we can't question that. Won't make it to mainstream news. Not going to see it there. Folks, I need you to get prepared, and please share all of your knowledge, all of your wisdom, all of your ideas, all of your thoughts. And you don't have to go demand people listen to you. No point in that. Just ask them the question, right? Ask them a simple question. Do you think it's right that people from another country come here and tell us how we have to live? And then the police come in and enforce that? It's not a law. It's a violation of my rights. Do you agree with that? And if they say yes, do that to them and never talk to them again. But if they go, well, you know what? Make them explain themselves if you can. Be nice. But you don't have to be Charlie Kirk. You don't have to be anybody. Just be yourself. Bring the topics up. You'll find out where people are at. And if they've got a modicum of common sense, they'll listen to you and then listen to your ideas as well. Let's hope for that. Anyways, chance favors the prepared mind. Get prepared with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and your constitutional right, which they are again trying to use courts to go after people who are defending themselves and others for just doing that, charging them with manslaughter and first-degree murder. These people are crazy. The time will come. Get prepared.